All right, good. Okay, so still working at the kinks, but if you miss parts of it or you want to watch it again, it'll be available after it's done on YouTube. So that's the plan. So still working at the kinks, but if you miss parts of it or you want to watch it again, it'll be available. Well, that's annoying. All right. Okay. Now we're ready. Good morning, everybody. Did anybody else have a very intense weekend? Did you feel feels of intensity? How are we? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm kind of feeling roadkill again. So like maybe like wet roadkill. It's been there overnight. It's been raining. Or we'll do 10, just like a fully animated being that's not been run over. How are you feeling today? 4, 4, 7. Good morning, Nara. Good morning, good morning. 2, 6, 6. Intense weekend, not chaotic. Okay, that's interesting way of putting it. Lots of feels this weekend, but super hopeful. Also good. Marion just cried about all day yesterday. Very emotional. Rose is a 6. Charlie's a 7. Feeling out of Mercury in retrogrades. That's great. It is. Lauren's super emotional weekend. Catherine's a 7.5. Good. So yeah, we're out of Mercury retrograde, and I do think that you can feel a little bit of a difference with that, but we're still in the shadow of that. So just know that it's going to be a little wonky as we shuffle out of that energy. It's the 3rd, so we've got full moon on the 9th, which is just around the corner. And I can't remember the dates in my brain right now, but I'm thinking, so we have 2 other planets that are going to go direct this month. It's Saturn and Pluto. That's going to be a really big help because those 2 are not flexible planets, you know? They're kind of got stiff jaws. So I think as we move out of that at the end of the month, it's gonna feel better as well. Good morning, Jacinda. Good to see you. Hello, hello. I love it. And how about the sweatshirt? I pulled this out this morning. I was like, yeah, let's test it. It feels so cozy, and see how it's like open like this, so it doesn't choke you and make you look weird. That's my problem with sweatshirts because I just feel like, you know. Okay, cool. So anyway, new format. This is super weird because I feel like I'm supposed to be setting up for live channeling right now. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But I'm following my nudges. We're gonna do this. I'm not gonna change my mind in 5 minutes. And in order to kind of train myself into this new thing, because I'm only supposed to be doing this for 30 minutes. We'll see how that goes. We're gonna try something. I know. We're gonna try something different this morning, and we're gonna start with a philosophical card pull by Rumi, because if you have this deck, you know he waxes a lot in this one. So we're going to start with this. We're going to jump into the sensory card pulls. Tomorrow is Tuesday. That's the first normalized magic circle, which I've told you guys I'm going to be doing the more deep energy updates in the circle and, all the other circle type stuff. Important dates for you to remember is our next actual channeling is the 9th. I know I'm calling it like the weight activation because we do have a lot more information coming through about the weight stuff that's not predominantly centered, I don't think, around weight loss necessarily, but understanding your body in a different way. But it's also just channeling, so I don't know what else is coming through, but that's going to be our next one. That's the full moon. And then eclipse season, we'll talk about that later. But yeah. Good morning, good morning. Hi, Tiffany. Good morning. Yvonne's popping in. All right. It's been a while since I've even touched this stuff. I was actually looking for Kali this morning, and One thing I'm not really disorganized with is my card decks. I actually have them organized, so she's gone. I don't know where she went, but the whole damn deck is it's not in the usual spots. It's very strange. So Rumi's like, I'm here. Here we go. All right. So our Rumi card for today is, I know, Kali's like, I'm busy. I don't know if you guys noticed. Busy destroying patriarchy. Um, it's number 18, a new gown. And I don't know, I've had this deck for a long time. I don't know that I've ever pulled this card. It's interesting. All right. Weary and consumed by longing, I was caressed by my beloved last night. My wounded soul was set free when I tasted this sweetness of love. My spirit was lifted at once. I surrendered my life while overflowing with joy, and my vision was filled with light. Love said, don't feel so hopeless, my weary and gloomy one, for my generosity is beyond forgetting those devoted to me. See how boundless divine justice can be. Behold my immeasurable kindness. Love embraced my spirit, and all my doubts vanished at once. A new and glorious robe of honor was placed upon my shoulders. Love offered me the power of new vision and the transforming touch of divine generosity, and placed the chalice of eternal wine in my hand. All right, let's see what the message is here. If you could only see the incredible gift, the symbolic robe being offered to you now, your fears would quake and tremble, disappearing more quickly than you could imagine. Your heart would take wings and become so light, your entire being would lift clean off the ground and soar like an angel bird amongst the playground of the Divine Mother's skies. Yet, like a young one, so much younger than your years and wisdom warrant, you may hold on to your tattered robes as though they were a security blanket. Though you know it's time to let them go, you may take pause and have a moment of doubt. You may wonder if the new robes will descend swiftly enough, or that without what you have known to cling on to, you will be left stark naked, exposed and vulnerable. These thoughts are not worthy of your status, but perhaps you are yet to realize you are of the most sublime royal lineage, that you are worthy of a cloak of galaxies, a crown of stars, a body of sacred earth, and a voice of stirring music. You may be craning your neck to see who it is that can bestow permission upon you to receive such a gift of dignity. In whom is such authority vested, that you may no longer be as the beggar, asking for scraps and contenting yourself with stale crumbs? You may simply decide to shed that, stand up to walk with your head held erect and with regal grace, and assume your place at the table of divine feasting. Remember that your royal birth certificate is stamped in your heart. There is no authority required, no permission to be granted. You are what you are already and always have been thus. All that is required from you is to realize it. This oracle comes to you with sacred portent. You are fast approaching a moment of a great leap, an evolutionary shift on your spiritual path. Your sense of yourself and your divine identity is about to be revealed and realized in a way more potent than ever before. This is wonderful. You must allow it. Do not confuse humility with humiliation. Do not humble yourself excessively. You do not have to battle with false pride either. Simply honor yourself as a living being, worthy of life, worthy of this royal path of divine realization. What a gift it is to cast aside belief in inferiority or superiority, unhelpful as those notions are for you now. What a gift instead to embrace your own path, irrespective of what any other may think, whether they hold it in glory or derision. You are stepping into empowerment in a new way, and it is to be honored. Do not allow yourself to be dragged into dramas or power games. You are worth so much more than that. You are tapping into your inner dignity, and others may not know how to respond. Some will respond with love and acknowledgement, others with fear and judgment, calling you too big for your boots or high and mighty. Those are the voices of fear, not truth. Be in your dignity and power and keep going. It is the divine that urges you thus, not the ego. Do not doubt the changes happening within you now. Embrace them. Okay. I'm curious, and I'm sure we'll find out, how many ways we are going to be told to like let go of old shit. It's like every day, it's like, would you like it in a different way? Because do you need toast with it? Because, okay. So, all right. Message received, right, my friends? Nice big sip of coffee after that one. Damn. All right then. Yeah, I had toast. I had toast already with some bacon on top of it, which I never do. But do you know how sometimes somebody will tell you something, like just some random bullshit, and your brain will grab it and be like, oh, that must be a true thing forever? And so someone told me like last week or something that if you don't eat something before you drink your coffee, that it completely messes up your adrenals and like your hormones and stuff. And I did not research it. I didn't even look for anything. My brain was just like, that's true. And ever and ever, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh no, look at me just drinking this coffee, fucking up my hormones. And I'm aware that I'm doing this, but like, what the fuck, right? God, and you know it was the internet too. Like, I know my friend was just like doom scrolling and a meme popped up and was like, did you not eat before you drank that coffee? I mean, it's not going to kill me to eat breakfast, but I mean, it could, I guess. I don't know. It just depends. It just depends. Someone also sent me a meme thing yesterday that was like, said something that like coffee doesn't actually give you more energy. And then like went on to explain that like coffee's basically gaslighting you. And I was like, you know what? That makes so much sense because I don't believe that, and I struggle to accept the truth of it, and I'm going to keep going through this relationship endlessly. No, I love my coffee. So anyway, just gotta pay attention to what you're consuming on the internet. With that in mind, let's go ahead and do breakfast foods this morning. So our three ones for today are coffee only, toast, and a breakfast sandwich, like egg and cheese, let's say. Okay? Coffee, toast, egg and cheese. What are you feeling? Just then you'll have to let me know how that goes. People love their mud water. But I'm like, I understand that they've done incredible marketing on this. It's masala spices. But you do you, y'all. Okay, but it's gonna be delicious because I looked at the ingredients. It's gonna be yummy. So Missy says I have mud water. It's okay, but I add spices myself. Yeah, it's just, I mean, listen, I love good marketing, so I've got no problems. No problems. Kachava. Is that a protein powder? Do I have that? Mud water is acceptable, but not coffee. Yeah, I think I have that. It's like chocolate flavored. I think I got it from Instagram one time. Fucking internet. And I love mushroom-based hot drinks. I love anything with mushrooms in them. And I don't need to even repeat myself with the choices because no one's just randomly popping in. So there's that. But I'm going to anyway. So it's toast, just coffee, or an egg and cheese. All right. This is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what this is bringing because October, I know we're like 3 days into October, but this has been a whole new month, hasn't it? Like, okay. I can't wait for Scorpio season. I'm already real done with this one. Gotta tell you. Real done. Yeah, it's cold. I like it though. I like the cold. The cold is, I was ready for it. I was ready for it. Okay. Okay. Toast. Here's your story. And it is, toast doesn't have any protein, but I think this card pull sure does. Lots of nutrition here. So we've got the serpent, we've got the dragon, and we've got love. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, let's talk about it. It's toast. My toast people. Okay, so okay. Sometimes this isn't relationship stuff, but today it is. You're learning because of a relationship a massive, massive truth. And like most truths, this is something that when you, first of all, when you see it, you can't unsee it. And it is also probably something that is then rapidly unraveling all of your thoughts of what was real and true, and is a little bit, not a little bit, it's very destabilizing. It's like unwinding you on the spiral like this, vroom, vroom, vroom. And as you allow yourself to be unwound, so to speak, more truth comes out and more truth comes out. And it's almost to the point where it feels like you can't intake any more truth. You're like choking on it. You're like, enough already. Like, and it's too much. And it is. And this is trying to tell you, this is informing you that it is. That if you feel like, whoa, this is too much, you're right. It is too much. And the reason it's too much is because it's been waiting too long. It's been waiting too long for you to see it. And you've almost seen it so very many times. And you went for it, and then you went, no. And so every time you do that, it's like you just build it up and build it up, and that power gets more and more and more. So when you finally open up to the truth of it, it's like opening a dam. And there's nothing really to do about that. You can't close the door on a dam. Like once it busts through, you know? Have y'all been watching that Rings of Power one? You watch that at all? You know what I'm talking about? When it was like, whoosh. You can't undo that. You can't undo that. And all you can do now is let the water settle. And when the water settles, you'll be able to see what the landscape is and trust that it's a whole new landscape. Okay? Dragon energy is here, much needed, because this is what you can tap into to give you that assist when you feel like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't take one more breath of this. Like it's too much. Tap into dragon energy. And this is asking you actually to literally do so. So I don't know how you work with dragon energy or if you ever have before, but if you are feeling this, if this is like, this is a thing, simply ask. Just ask. I ask for dragon energy to be with me, to assist me in integrating and assimilating all of this truth that is being gifted to me violently. Okay? So there you go. Right? Okay. It's like just toast, but it's clearly not dry toast. It must have a lot of toppings. Wow. All right. I guess I needed to hear that one. Yeah, Danielle, you do have a lot of dragon energy, don't you? I feel that from you. All right, the next one is just coffee. So don't knock it as a full breakfast, all right? Don't knock it. But coffee powers the magic of us every morning. And so see, I used to, this is so weird. So I'm always been into coffee because I just like a hot drink. But I used to drink my coffee, you know, like the bulletproof style with the butter and the MCT oil all blended up. And that was the only way I could drink it because otherwise the caffeine became too much for my system. I needed the fat to buffer it. But I don't know what's happened. I'm only drinking it with my Trader Joe's creamer these days. And I'm like, should I go back to the butter? But then I'm like, if I'm going to do that, then I was like, if I drink butter coffee in the morning, but then I eat like a normal person the rest of the day, is that just crazy? Do I have to be, whatever. I'm just kind of letting you into my own personal eating disorder this morning, but like, it's just like too much information. It's like, my God, everybody, like everything's a big deal. It's a big deal. All right. Oh, Jason just said he didn't even pick toast. Yeah, I hear you on that one. Toast picks you. Oh, Tiffany says coffee is magic bean juice activated by water. Yeah, I mean, and you know, that's what we're doing. Oh. All right. Here's our coffee poll. This is interesting. It's very different than the first one. So we have restriction, wealth, and Lady of the Lake. Is anybody getting like the feeling this morning that no matter what you pick, this is an entire breakfast just for you? That's what I'm feeling this morning. Ouch. Oh. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this one. So restriction, wealth, and Lady of the Lake. All right. So these two are actually coming together. Lady of the Lake has some things to tell you. And here's the thing. In a way, the Lady of the Lake is the power of restriction. Because the Lady of the Lake says who can come into the Isle of Avalon and who cannot. So in that way, she acts as a boundary. And what she would like for you to look at this time is what is a boundary that you've created versus what is a restriction that you've created, okay? The difference between a boundary and a restriction is who it is affecting. Your restriction is going to bind you. It's going to make it hard for you to move past certain points. A boundary keeps your space open and clear and keeps outside energies that you don't necessarily want in from interfering with you, okay? So what's a restriction versus a boundary? It's easier to put restrictions on ourselves than to put boundaries, because boundaries, you know, in our thought process affects other people, and positively or negatively we're like, I don't want to mess with that, right? Because they might become unhappy and it's my job to make everybody happy and make them feel good. No, it isn't, but you know what I'm saying. So what's a boundary and what's a restriction? Lady of the Lake is asking you to look at that, because thinking of yourself as the Isle of Avalon, where only those who are ready, open, and willing to do the work may visit, okay? Otherwise, it's a self-contained ecosystem and it doesn't need you, right? There's nothing, they don't need random people running in there. To what end? They don't need it. They don't need any outside stimulation that has not been properly vetted, and neither do you. Neither do you. You are better off with just you. Just you. No riffraff anymore. So she's asking you to really look at that, because what's happening here is your lack of boundaries / full lean into restrictions upon yourself and calling them boundaries is blocking your abundance big time. It's blocking your abundance big time because it's very confusing to energy. It's like we're so intelligent, right? That we have created these mazes around us. And the mazes are to redirect the energy, and it confuses everything. It's not straightforward. It's not just like, yeah, no on this and yes on that. It's you're maybe over here and like over here. And like the energy cannot find its way through. So this is the abundance energy is here. Can you create a clear channel to it? Okay? That's the important thing. Is there any other important things on that? No, that's okay. That's all. That's all for now. It's the boundaries versus restrictions. Feel into that. Okay. And then the protein. Let's see what happens. Egg and cheese. Mmm. Yeah. Smoked Gouda. Okay. And a little hot honey on top of that too. I closed my eyes on that one to be surprised. Okay, so all right, so this is back. It's the wealth card again. Here's the wealth card to tell you how you're not getting it because of some stuff you're not doing. Good morning. Okay, right. Like, get out of here. All right, but here it is. Here it is. Oh, look, it's the goblin. Oh, look, it's the horse. What could they be doing? Reshuffle. I've learned my lesson with that. We don't reshuffle anymore. Okay, so we have the goblin and the horse and the well. And this is actually a lot more straightforward than you might expect. This time, your ego is preventing you from asking for help, and you need to have the help. You need to delegate. You need a little bit off your plate. Na, 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 I can't hear you. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, but that's what the story is. You know, do I even need to say it? Look at him. Look at him. Bleh. I mean, that's literally the face that half of you with faces on here just made at me. It's you right now. I don't want to ask for help. Everybody else is super incompetent. So, and you know what? Are they? And if they are, like, why are they on your island? You know? So you can complain about them and do everything yourself and then feel like, well, I'm the only competent person on this island. You haven't invited any competent people in, but that's besides the point. Okay, so horse and ego, goblin over here. Again, this wealth card has been coming through a lot. Like, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. And I'm right with you where it's like, okay, I'm hearing you, but like, okay, you know, I mean, look at me right now. Like, I'm still sitting over here like, did I really cancel every single one of your goddamn subscriptions? Yes, I did. And I'm just like, you fucking idiot. But I'm like, no. That's what I wanted to do. So I did it. But again, it's just like the Rumi card. It's like holding on to those old clothes. It's like, they're not great, but at least I'm not naked. Meanwhile, you have to not have those on to put on the nice big, beautiful clothes that you actually want, right? So I hope that I can lead by example and show you a positive outcome of being absolutely batshit crazy when it comes to everything in life, okay? Because you don't even know. If you think that my business is the only place that I did that in, you're very wrong. You're very wrong. It was like all or nothing, baby. Every area, just psh, 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 psh. So it's totally great. It's gonna be fine. But the cards are really emphasizing this. It's not, and it's not like it's not small stuff this time. It's stepping into the big stuff. And that's scary. And your ego's like, it is scary. You're right. Danger. Let's stick with what we know, because even though it's literally killing us, wrecking our bodies, and making us unhappy, we do know how to deal with this. We know this. Like, we know this. I have a quote that I want to share with you. Let's see if I can find it sooner than later. Let's see. Got it. All right. And see if this resonates with you as I shove these cards out of my face. Trauma is not what happens to us, but what we hold inside in the absence of an empathetic witness. And here's how I translate that. If you are not seen, you hold within you all of the things. And that, I wonder sometimes, like, I've been reflecting on the past 2 years and working with so many of you consistently, right? And like, what is it that makes the group work? What is it that makes it help you? What is it that we do here? And I realize that is what we're doing here. We're being seen, and then the work, so to speak, kind of does itself, because your body is a self-healing mechanism. Everything about you wants to restore itself constantly and move back into stasis, right? And in order to heal, all you need to do is have somebody actually see you, witness you, and say like, yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden what happens, like your shoulders go. And I had a conversation over the weekend with a family member, not Sandra. I can just tell you who it is. Actually, I'm in a Zoom now. Oof, okay, it's my sister. So I had a conversation with my sister and just kind of updating her on some things that are happening here. And I was like, I was stunned by how toxic she was talking to me and how unkind and unseen I felt. Oh shit, thank you, Nicole. Well, whatever. You know what? If she makes it this far in, she deserves it. Um, you know, I was just amazed at how completely unseen and unheard I felt in this conversation with her, where she's literally telling me, like, yeah, everyone knows that that's what's been happening. So, like, what are you going to do about it? You're just like sitting there, like, not doing anything. And I'm like, say you don't understand trauma without saying you don't understand trauma. Say you're not an empathetic person without saying that. Like saying you think you're better than everybody else without just saying it. Like, I was just like, wow, you are not a safe person. And I recognized immediately that before I would have been like really upset about it. And like, I even had that response of like trying to explain it to her. And as soon as I was like, oh, I need to explain this to her, I was like, oh, no, I don't. I really don't. Like, if I have to explain to you the basics of being an empathetic, supportive human being and listening to a person's experience, then you're not worth my fucking time. My sister, my mother, my brother, whoever the hell you are. Like, no. And like, immediately my brain and my heart were like, she's not first rung, click, click, she's over on the third now. And like, that's where she'll stay. And we can talk about very many topics, but you may not be here now because you're not safe. And I wouldn't recognize that if I hadn't made room for safe people, for people who actually are doing that work with me and see me. You know what I mean? And that has made all the difference. And it's not fun a lot of the times, honestly, because then you can't stay in your little fantasy world. But at the same time, it's amazing. And it's amazing to be able to just like look at that and be like, yeah, this is not a me problem. Like you're operating on like level 2.5 of emotional like viability at this point. So, but yeah, it's a lot. So I shared that quote. I'll write it here for you if you want that, and I'll put the name of the person too. Trauma is not what happens to us, but what we hold inside in the absence of an empathetic. And this actually makes so much sense to me in so many different ways, considering what I've learned about trauma, especially the concept that what trauma is cannot be necessarily defined because it's different for every person. So like 3 people can experience the same thing and only one person would take it as a traumatic response, right? So you're not really allowed to make a judgment of what you think is traumatic or not traumatic. It's based off of how that person receives that energy. And this actually makes a lot of sense to it because it's like how you're treated, how you are seen, how you are handled in those spaces makes all the difference in the world. And especially for those of you who are raising children right now, this is aces. This is like, okay, we hacked it. We're down to the core because you can't prevent life from happening to your children. You can't prevent people from being total dicks to your children. But what you can do is make sure your children have a safe space to be seen and heard so that anything that happens to them doesn't get lodged into their body forever and ever, because they're able to be seen and able to process through that, and then they don't hold it. And I'm like, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, like just that at least was one internet thing that stuck in my head that I think was actually healthy and not like total bullshit. So, well, this was our first Coffee and Magic. I did a really good job. It's 40 minutes. That's amazing for me, I feel. So way to go. I love you guys so much. I hope that you will be joining tomorrow. If you haven't signed up already, the first one's free, so you can use that code TRYME. And that's me just being ridiculous, but I just can't seem to stop. I don't know what my problem is, but I'm not doing that again. But all of my OGs, you do have a coupon code because, again, I just can't with myself. But you do have that coupon code, so all of your circles are 20% off forever to my OGs. So you have that as your code. And I will see you tomorrow night. Remember, it's like 2 times in the evening and then 2 times in the morning, so we're alternating. So whatever works for you. And don't forget, live channeling is the 9th. That's our next one. I love you, Tiffany. Your hair looks amazing. I hope you have a really awesome, awesome, awesome Monday. Let's kick some butt, right? And delegate and ask for help and kick out people who shouldn't be in our inner circle. Bye-bye.